So I wanted to get one more item from next week's agenda out before I take off for camping for the weekend. And one of the things I want to talk about next week, what's on the list, if they are not discussing the one big beautiful piece of bullshit, is House Resolution 516. I don't know if you've seen my video earlier, a resolution is essentially just their way of saying, we didn't like something that happened. We did like something that happened. We like a person who did a thing. We don't like a person who did a thing. That's all it is. It's an opinion. So this one is condemning the violent June 2025 riots in Los Angeles, California. I printed it out so I can actually read it to you. I made notes. So I'm going to start with the resolved part. This is, so there's the whereas part and the resolved part. The whereas part is, so this thing happened and this thing happened and this thing happened. And because of that, we feel XYZ should happen, or we feel XYZ kind of way. So I'm going to start with that part and then go back and talk to you about the whereas. So resolved that the House of Representatives recognizes the right to assemble and protest peacefully. Agreed. Everybody agrees on that. Yay! They want us to be able to do it. We want to be able to do it. 2, condemns unequivocally the violence perpetrated against federal, state, and local law enforcement. Well, guess what? We also condemn unequivocally violence perpetrated against federal, state, local law enforcement. We don't want any of those things to happen either. Nope, don't want that to happen. Number 3, calls on local and state elected leadership to work with the federal government to end the violent riots and restore peace. And the other way around, we would call on the federal government to allow local and state leadership to handle their shit until they ask for federal help, as is written in the Constitution. Yeah. Number 4, expresses gratitude to law enforcement officers, including Los Angeles Police Department, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, California Highway Patrol, Orange County Sheriff's Department, and local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. Well, they put including United States Immigration Custom Enforcement. Yeah, we don't no, we don't include them in there. Other than that, we totally agree on all of it. They're not so much, because ICE is not actually keeping peace. They're bringing on. They are the reason that all the protesting in LA started, because Border Barbie is too busy cosplaying and creating drama to actually do her job. So now on to the whereas. Whereas on June 6, 2025, protests began in response to lawful federal immigration enforcement actions by the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement personnel. I don't know about lawful, but yes, the whole thing started because of ICE. Because ICE has been going around and kidnapping people, whether those people are here legally or not. You can be an American citizen. If you're brown, you can be taken. Actually, there have been some white immigrants who've been taken too, so I guess it's not even just brown, but it's mostly brown people. We all know it's mostly brown people. Whereas these protests quickly escalated into violent riots across Los Angeles, where acts of arson, widespread looting, property destruction, and vandalism were committed, blocking streets and highways, lighting streets on fire, throwing rocks at law enforcement vehicles, and assaulting federal and local peace officers. Oh my God, these people. So they showed like all these cop cars burning. Yeah, most of which were from the Rodney King riots in 2025 after they, killed a black man. I mean, Yes. That wasn't even from this time, but they will go back in the archives and get pictures from all kinds of other shit to show, see what's happening? Or my favorite is they will take videos of the same incident from different viewpoints and make it look like this is happening all over the city. I don't know if you know this, but LA is 503 square miles. The area that these protests were happening in, 1 square kilometer. That is 3/9, 0.39 of a mile. Yes, just over a third of a mile. That's about 10 football fields. Mm-hmm. That's the big, huge area this is happening in. Mm-hmm. Big, huge. It's so bad. It's so bad they had to bring in half the freaking military. Ridiculous. Whereas rioters have shot commercial grade fireworks and thrown Molotov cocktails, one, at Los Angeles Police Department officers and assaulted federal agents. This was redundant. They said this all in the last one. Just an FYI. Whereas rioters burned American flags, an act that disrespects the nation that protects their freedom. First of all, Texas versus Johnson, 1989, in a 5-4 vote, the U.S. Supreme Court said that did not threaten to disturb the peace. However, if we are worried about respecting the flag, maybe we shouldn't be defacing the flag. See this? And this? Yeah, those are both against flag etiquette. Yeah, you can't do that. That's against flag etiquette. But we don't care about the flag when it comes to him, right? Yeah, okay. What about this one where he is saluting a flag with a hat? Okay, I was never in the military, but I was a Boy Scout mom, and I know this is not okay. This is not okay. If you're saluting the flag, you better take the hat off. You better take it off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now I have heard argument that he should not be saluting anyway because he's never been in the military. And I'm sure that some people could say because he is the commander, the I've said it wrong so many times now I can't even remember what it's called. He's the top military guy, then maybe that's okay. But usually if you're in the military, you do not salute, you put your hand over your heart. Also, violating carrying it flat is a violation of flag etiquette, not respectful. Also, we need to tell Blanche to stop making flag decorations. It's against flag etiquette. Yeah, we also need to tell Cletus to stop wearing flag clothing because that's against flag etiquette. We also need to tell Floyd to stop flying his Confederate flag next to the American flag. That's against flag etiquette. The only other flag that can fly the same height as the American flag are other countries' flags. Save it. When it comes to the whole disrespecting the flag, you guys disrespect the flag all the freaking time. Whereas California Governor Gavin Newsom asserted that local law enforcement didn't need any help, despite the Los Angeles Police Department declaring that the violence had worsened and spiraled out of control, which is an absolute lie. LAPD has said that's an absolute fucking lie. Whereas more than 561 rioters have been arrested and 12 brave officers with the Los Angeles Police Department have been injured in efforts to contain the chaos. Okay, so I looked it up. I found 7 officers and an equal number of protesters who were hurt by officers or by law enforcement, whoever they are. Yeah, so don't give me that crap. Whereas local and state leadership failed to contain the rapidly escalating disorder, failing to support overwhelmed law enforcement personnel. Bullshit. They weren't overwhelmed. They were doing the job they were trained to do, and they were doing it well. Trump bringing all these extra people in was just a slap in the face. Whereas the actions of law enforcement have been crucial in preventing further violence and protecting law-abiding citizens from harm. And they did, and did it well. Yes. Didn't you just say they didn't do it well? And now you're saying they did do it well? I'm so confused. Whereas the U.S. Small Business Administration called on California Governor Gavin Newsom to request a small business economic injury disaster loan declaration to authorize SBA to deliver urgent assistance to Los Angeles-based small businesses that have been looted by rioters. Of course she did. This is an appointee of FIC. And wait, where are the funds for the people who've had tornadoes and floods, and they didn't get funds? But Trump wants to give these people funds immediately. Okay. Whereas Los Angeles Ambulatory Care Center, which provides health services for veterans, was closed for several days due to civil unrest, resulting in the cancellation of over 700 in-person appointments for United States veterans. I found absolutely nothing that said what kind of damage was done or why they stopped it, other than another Trump appointee decided it needed to be closed. Yeah. Whereas the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Los Angeles field office was temporarily closed due to the violence caused by anti-ICE riots and protests. Again, another Trump appointee says that. Whereas some mainstream media outlets and members of Congress have falsely labeled the protests as peaceful and with no violence happening in Los Angeles. First of all, we say mostly peaceful. Okay. I was at a protest the other day that was mostly peaceful. We anticipated, and I didn't bring it with me, but I actually had on the back of one of my protest signs how we're supposed to handle if bad guys come and try to start shit. And on the back of mine, so I could show it to everybody if anything started. And I know did. One time, something started, and I turned my thing and I showed it to all the people around me. Just look, 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 look. We are supposed to back away. We don't engage. Don't engage. Right? We have not said they were completely 100% peaceful. That's what we like. Unfortunately, we know there are people on the other side who are going to come and start shit. Anyway, I'm going to hurry up because I only got 2 minutes left. And no violence. Nobody has said no violence. But we have been honest about there's very little violence. They are mostly peaceful. Whereas United States immigration and enforcement officers have faced a 413% increase in assaults against them, and their family members have been doxxed and targeted. That is a load of bullshit. I have looked it up. All I can find are photos. Officers whose photos have been shown and they've been identified as ICE agents. No doxing has happened. Whereas United States immigration and custom enforcement officers have arrested at least 330 illegal aliens with prior criminal convictions, such as murder, drug trafficking, assault, cruelty to children, domestic violence, robbery, and human smuggling. We already know this can't be believed, and eventually I might actually do one on Kilmar Abrego Garcia, because I've read all the documents, and I can tell you there's no way he'd be found guilty, at least not by real normal people. So believing this bullshit, it's bullshit. We can't believe anything they say. Whereas illegal aliens have perpetrated violence against law enforcement officers. I can't find any stats on that. I have found no incidences of it. Whereas California's leadership has prioritized protecting illegal immigrants and violent individuals over United States citizens, which is bullshit. We prioritize the Constitution and the democracy over whatever the hell it is Taco's got going on. We know that that is not in accordance with our Constitution. It is not democracy. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, please, and have a day that matters.